I receive an awful lot of comments on my YouTube channel these days. Some are complimentary, some are critical, a few are slightly deranged, and many contain interesting points worthy of note. When I released my video on the early history of the Docklands Light Railway, I mentioned the name of this street which runs roughly between Tower Gateway and Aldgate, which I pronounced Minories. The commenters were quick to point out that it's actually pronounced Minories, like minor or minority. Many were outraged that I could make such an error, with some even implying that I was an agent of some other city infiltrating London for sinister ends. Which raises the question, how do you pronounce the name of this street? Well, what you have to realise is that the sign of true power is that you can pronounce words however you like, as I explained to a friend over a quinoa salad and a cup of espresso as we sat in a little restaurant in Marylebone. But I am also magnanimous, so for the sake of the rest of this video, I will pronounce it Minories, as people seem to believe is correct. So how did this street name wind up being spelled so wrongly? Let's look at the history. This is, of course, a very old part of the city, having been settled since the Roman era. The name Minories used to refer to a civil parish, but I'd venture to suggest that it's now better known as the name of the street in said civil parish. The name comes from the Abbey of the Minoresses of St. Clair without Aldgate, so I can see why you might want to shorten that. This was an order of nuns commonly known as the Poor Clares, and this was their main British headquarters, so to speak. They take their name from St. Clair of Assisi, who is the patron saint of, among other things, goldsmiths, good weather, extrasensory perception, New Mexico, bicycle messengers, and television. I guess the latter makes her my patron saint as well. Poverty was, as you might imagine, central to the Poor Clares' lifestyle. As a sign of humility, the Clares were known in Latin as the Sorores Minores, or Lesser Sisters. This was anglicised to Minoresses, and in due time to Minories. Incidentally, the order gives its name to another street just off Minories, St. Clair Street. At some point in the early 16th century, the convent buildings were destroyed by fire, then rebuilt. In 1539, the order was dissolved by Henry VIII, as was the style at the time. The church was retained and was apparently a popular venue for clandestine marriages, being slightly outside of the city. As for the rest of the buildings, they were turned into the residence of the Bishop of Bath and Wells, then used as accommodation for the Tower of London, then the residence of the Duke of Suffolk, father of Lady Jane Grey, then became the Ordnance Office for the Tower, and then they were destroyed by fire in 1797. Now, of course, the street still exists as a reminder of this site, a minor footnote in London's history. I hope you found this short video interesting. If you did, then please do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button and consider subscribing for more. Have you ever heard Minories said out loud? Have you ever made a YouTube video without hearing it said out loud? Let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, have a delightful time and I'll see you soon for more historical shenanigans. Cheerio.